Welcome to another tutorial video. In this video, we are going to look at how to install Visual Studio Code, one of the code editors that we usually use. So in order to do this, the first thing I want you to do is to just head straight to your browser, and on the search bar, I want you to type in VS Code, okay? And so once you search, the first search content that you will appear on your browser is the visualstudio.com. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and download the application and then go through the installation process. Is that okay? So now what we want to do is just click on that link, and then we'll be directed to the Visual Studio's official website. Okay, now you can just go straight to, if you scroll down, there's a whole lot of information right here that you can go through if you have the time, but we are focusing on getting the application to our device. So we're just going to head to download for Mac. Okay, that's because I'm on a Mac OS. But if it is Windows, you will see your operating system automatically detected, and then you download to Windows, okay, or Linux. Okay, so it's available for Windows, Linux, and then the Mac. Okay, so what you want to do is to click on download, and now once you do that, your application will be automatically downloaded. And if you look at your downloads, you can see that our downloads is currently in progress. Okay, so once the download is complete, the next thing you want to do is to go through the installation process. So if you're on Windows, there's a Windows installer that you can just click agree to the terms and agreement, and then you can just go um, straight to installing the application on your device. Okay, however, once we are done installing, we are going to go through some basic settings that you will need to start running Visual Studio Code on your device. So once your downloads are complete, I want you to go ahead and click on the downloaded file, and this is the window you will see if you are on a Mac. This is the installer, and so we are just going to unzip the file, and then this file will open in your downloads file on the Mac. Okay, so you can just head to downloads, and then you can open the Visual Studio Code on that. Okay, so then when you click on it, you see that there's a verification for Visual Studio Code. The system is just checking Visual Studio Code to see, and then you will be asked to give permission because the application is downloaded from the internet. Okay, so let's wait for the application to open. If you have Visual Studio Code unzipped on your downloads, what I want to do is want to move this Visual Studio Code on to our applications folder. Okay, in this way it will be found in your launchpad. So if you opened your application launcher, you will find Visual Studio Code as one of the applications here. Okay, so yes, so that's what we are going to do. So I'm just going to move Visual Studio Code to the applications folder, and once that is done, if you open your launch pad, you'll find that Visual Studio Code has been added. Yes, and once that is done, you'll be asked to give permission because Visual Studio Code is downloaded from the internet. So I'm just going to give that, click on open. Yes, and the application successfully launches. Okay, so this is the window that you are going to see if you just downloaded Visual Studio Code. Okay, so I have some projects, but you see some release notes and stuff like that that you can go through, but then we are going to go through some basic settings. Okay, so for me, I would usually go to my terminal anytime I want to launch Visual Studio Code, and then in my terminal I can just type code dot. Okay, so if you type code dot, this will open a new window. Okay, but in this particular case, this is not being set up to work on this particular application that we just downloaded. Okay, so we want to make all those settings in Visual Studio Code. So what we want us to do is to, if you're on a Mac, you can just click on Command Shift P, and this will open the command palette, and then so that you can search for shell commands. Now what you want to do is, if you're on the command palette and you type in shell or shell command, I want you to go ahead and click on install, and then it will be uninstalled successfully. And then I want you to open the command palette once again, and then I want you to go to install patch and then click OK. Okay, so now if you come back to your terminal and then you type in code dot, this now opens Visual Studio Code in another window, because we have our first window here. Don't worry, this is a different project, right? So this will open Visual Studio Code in another window. Okay, so let's say we had a file or a folder on our desktop. Let's just name it test vs. Okay, so if you wanted to open this folder in Visual Studio Code, then you could just navigate to new tab, add folder, or new terminal tab, add folder, or new terminal add folder, all of which is okay, and then you can type code dot. Now this opens this folder in the VS Code directory. Okay, so this is the window that is opening, and now you can see that we have our file opened, test vs, on Visual Studio Code. Okay, so yeah, that's basically about it. Now if you don't want to use the shortcut keys, you can just open the menu bars. So you have code file, edit file, and I want you to head to view, and then if you are in view, you can just select command palette and that should open, and then you can go through the same process. Okay, so you can just type shell command, uninstall, then reinstall. Okay, and then the whole thing is solved. Okay, now if you have just downloaded Visual Studio Code, there are some extensions that I think are essential, one of which is live server. Okay, so this will allow your a live reload of your application anytime you are working on project. Okay, so if you are working on any project, you can save your application on a live server, and if you make any save, it will automatically update, especially if you are working on HTML and JavaScript files. Okay, so yes, so you can just click on live server, and then you can go ahead and install. So in this way, if you are working on any application, you can just click on it. So I'm just going to show you something really quick. I'm going to create a file. I'm just going to call it index.html, and inside here I'm going to just generate the basic HTML template. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a paragraph, and I'm going to put in we are having a tutorial, and then save. And now because you have live server installed, you can just click on it and open the file with live server. This will open your application on the browser, and then anytime you make an edit, so right now we are having a tutorial. Yeah, so I'm going to put the two windows side by side so you can see what I mean by the live server updates. Okay, so we are having a tutorial. That's what we have on our browser, and I'm just going to say on YouTube and save. And then as you can see, it automatically updates with the window. All right, let's head back to our browser, and then once you are done with live server, the other thing is you can install Prettier. Okay, so as you continue to work with the text editor, you find more useful extensions that you can add, extensions for SQL, extensions for Python, C++, or even CSS, SCSS, and all of that. Okay, so you can continue to add. Okay, so we have Prettier here, which is a code formatter that you can add as an extension to your Visual Studio Code, and then whenever you save, it will automatically format your code. Okay, so you can go through any of the documentations right here so that you have a better understanding of what this does. Okay, yes, so that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed the video, and then see you on our next video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel